I go by the name Tash LC. I'm a DJ, radio broadcaster, a promoter, run a record label, and general music person, I guess, presenter as well. Growing up, my musical style was influenced a lot by, so I kind of used to be a lot more like into indie music, I guess, growing up. Quite like always been into like bold colours, to be honest, and like Prince. That's like kind of what I'm into, very much what I'm into now. That's always kind of been a part of like my fashion identity, I suppose. But music was always an inspiration for me. I kind of would like dress in like band tops and like t-shirts, and I guess like anything that was quite like kind of shirts, plaid shirts growing up, and then that kind of changed as I got more into like, I guess like club music and specifically more like Afrocentric music, and then I guess more like brighter prints and Kente influenced sort of stuff, fabrics started coming into my wardrobe, and that's kind of where I'm at now, I suppose. There's loads of females I look up to for inspiration. I mean, the females close to me, to be honest, like I know a lot of incredible female producers and DJs and just general like really, really talented people like KG, who's on here as well, Mina, Juba, Josie Mitsu, so many people that I like, and not just here but internationally as well. Like I've been lucky enough to like grow like a really strong network of women from around the world as well, who I really like rate. Campire, like Dalcom, like MC Yala, just so many people, Disfig, like a bunch of international women as well. But women are probably, I'm constantly inspired by women all the time, and that's what I guess I try and do as well in my work. As a woman working in the music industry, it's felt a lot easier for me personally, probably because that's been like 6 years of being in the industry now, and I think there was a long period at first, and it still happens, where I'm kind of assumed to be, you know, like the typical kind of like someone's partner or whatever, or not really felt like I've been given the kind of respect that's due in a lot of ways. But I would say now the thing that bothers me most is probably the lack of females that are producing, or women that are producing, or I think myself included, and maybe that's because the spaces don't feel as open or as inclusive, or it's kind of hard to know where to start. And I think that it's been amazing seeing like places like Female First Sessions and like Women in Jazz and all these like platforms that are encouraging women in the industry all the time, which is great. But yeah, I think that's for me at the moment is what's lacking is the production sort of resources for women and kind of outlets and stuff like that. So that would be, I'd like to see more of that, I think, going forward. My dream female feature to work with, I've got like MC Yala I'd love to work with. She's an incredible MC from Uganda. Flo Ohio, she's one of my favourite rappers. She's from here in London. Who else do I really rate? I'd love to work with my friend Mina. She's a really, really talented producer as well. I'd love to work with like Alakai Harley and like Spice. That would be the dream, to be producing for them at some point. I would say just don't be afraid to ask questions, and that's something that I always tell myself now as well. Like I'm never afraid to reach out and ask something that I don't know. Like no matter how far along your career or how early you are, don't be afraid to just, you know, I mean, if you feel like someone's within your reach, which people normally are responsive and they're super busy, and even if they are, they'll respond to you at some point, but someone that you admire, find a way to get in touch with them if you've got, you know, be realistic, I suppose. Like people aren't going to always be available, but I'd say don't be afraid to ask questions. Try and find, I guess, what it is that you want to do, because I think that the music industry is like so broad, so trying to kind of almost there's nothing wrong with like looking at idols, looking at inspirations, but not necessarily needing to completely like emulate them, but trying to find people who you do admire and look up to and kind of see yourself sort of aligning with, and kind of maybe researching a bit about their stories. But for me, yeah, number one is reaching out and trying to find where you can kind of fit in terms of advice, and because it can be quite overwhelming, I suppose. Asking questions, reaching out, and just doing as much research as possible on the people that you do admire and seeing how they got there. Okay.